You see, so I mean, if we want this industry to grow, we need to make it grow with the financial system. That's the biggest, you were saying, that's the biggest industry in the world. So if we want to make the industry grow, we need to actually work with all of these other financial instruments that have been succeeding for the past 200, 150 years.
So let's talk about regulations here for a second. Sorry, I'm jumping before on the beginning. You just changed the guidelines that allows you to use crypto or down payment. You either have to liquidate the assets, so sell your Bitcoin, or guidelines just the legacy system. Like, what is that? You either have to sell it or anyways. So regulations are a sticky point here, and I think in order for this ecosystem to grow, we have to figure out a way to get to anybody eventually. Private lenders are going to probably fill the gap in the meantime. But again, just thinking from a consumer standpoint, Bitcoin is pristine collateral. It's my credit worthiness. Why do I need a FICO? Why do I need to show you my W2? Why do I need to give my child's DNA sample in order to get approved for a mortgage nowadays? What does actually introducing Bitcoin to the equation, and how do we make sure that the regulations aren't a hurdle for this? What have you ran into? I know Canada's regulatory environment is a little bit different than the U.S. One of the U.S. regulations that's required here is showing proof of income in order to qualify for it. Right? You guys ran into that problem, and how do you overcome it?
Yeah, so I mean, it is quite similar to Canada. It really that's how mortgages work today, right? You're not even lending against the asset; you're lending against your future income in order to buy that asset. So Bitcoin is the same to everyone everywhere. That's the most exciting thing is build global financial services on Bitcoin because you're starting with an asset that is equal and fair to everybody. So that's the exciting piece. So when we start with that, the only thing that does become local is when we start to get into traditional assets. So the laws around real estate are different, property rights for physical real estate are different in the country, and that's the piece that we're working on. Right, we're launching in Canada and the U.S. first on our mortgages because we understand the property rights there. Eventually, we'd like to be able to offer this in every other country, but we have to figure out the local regulations.
So we talk about property rights. We talked specifically about how a buyer takes title and how that is protected. Like I own this house, county says so.
Right.
Okay, and that's gets a little bit, outside of the U.S., Canada, it's a little bit more vague. Yeah.
So when you talk about Bitcoin, it's easy to do because you take custody of it. You have the keys, you essentially have back the ownership or title to it. But when you're working with real estate, you still fall into
the brilliant thing with Bitcoin is that it's jurisdiction. So in the future, immediately property rights. That's why a lot of the U.S. and Canada make a lot of sense to have strong. But the reason why the third world is poor is not because culture or any sort of like weird using. We don't have good frameworks. Now we have Bitcoin, which is global jurisdiction. Anyone can be able
to yeah, so in the commercial side, that's one of the gaps that we want to bridge, right? So, and we're building financial instruments that before were only reserved for the top 1%. Now we're going to allow people with Bitcoin to go ahead and invest and go in exactly to those financial instruments and take advantage of it. There's not a lot of diversity at the 1%. And pretty much that's what Bitcoin represents, right? Diversity, inclusion, that's what it's all about. So at BPN, that's our main focus. How can we put the right tools in the Bitcoiners' hands so they can actually, without having hundreds of millions of dollars, profit like the guys that have hundreds of millions of dollars and giving the access.
I want to talk a little bit about how these loans are structured. So we have in a traditional sense, you buy $1 million house, you're putting 20% down. That becomes your equity. LTV, loan to value ratio is 8%. When we introduce Bitcoin and we cross collateralize Bitcoin real estate, what's the new calculation for LTV?
So one of the things that also with this product is the ability for people to actually keep their Bitcoin and not have to sell it. So we really wanted to create this concept where an individual are 100% of the value of the purchase. And all they would have to do is essentially is pledge. And through that, through our internal underwriting process, we would order appraisals, title, insurance, because all of these are fundamentally good for the consumer and us as a lender. I think what our approach has always been is that we already direct our capital, so we have our guideline how we can actually plan. So that gave us a lot of flexibility. But we weren't really stuck by the confines of Fannie and Freddie and some of the US standards that we could actually think about the product. So today the structure is if you want a $500,000 loan with us, we're going to require this $500,000 Bitcoin. That's something that we expect that over time it will evolve the product. But we're starting with a place where we think we can defend that, given that mortgage is so heavily regulated in the US. The element that laws are on a state-by-state basis. We really wanted to build a product and sort of take the responsibilities to guide this industry forward, having the communication with regulators to actually be able to expand credit as many people as possible. But this is all really sort of starting to replace it. This product better and better over time. That's the biggest impact for most consumers are sort of thinking that 1 out of every 8 last year sold some crypto to buy real estate. This is a big opportunity. We have a responsibility to do it right. Very good.
How do you work for
Yeah, we're actually the same on the underwriting, so also you're putting up on our home, and that's really just for equalization. So theoretically, although none of this industry would happen, the Bitcoin could go to a very low price and you still have 100% back. That's really the setup of it. It's so much Joseph saying it's going to be an evolution. It's the world with now we're offering you 30% down, just like traditional mortgages. Cash down, baby steps will get there.
So having been in the mortgage industry, I know one of the first questions consumers always ask is, what's my interest rate? How is the Bitcoin-backed mortgage interest rate calculated? So that's what I will say.
I think that one of the things when you think about rates, mortgage being such a large category, there's a very fluid rate structure out there. It's very easy to understand. The U.S. government decides to subsidize mortgage rate, and then if you're getting on mortgage, those rates naturally like higher right now. With our product today, so to start at 5.95% interest rate, so that's the ratio. If you're able to pledge more Bitcoin, then 2-to-1 ratio, then it's 4.95. Times ratio is 3.9. And we felt that this was a good place to start. As many of the rates have moved pretty significantly, but actually this year. So we believe that that's a good start. We really wanted to add as much value as possible, trying to get this crypto more as many consumers' hands to really start to fire out what is possible with Bitcoin and crypto mortgage and really.
All right, so we are going to get ready to wrap up here in the last few minutes. So we get some final thoughts. So this is the enterprise stage. I don't know if you noticed how difficult it was to be here. This is one of the fullest panels I've seen today so far. So there's a lot of interest in this topic. Like I said, last year this wasn't even on anyone's radar. This year we've heard mentioned multiple times. Stage. We have our own panel dedicated to it. There's at least a couple of really exciting products already out there. So what does the future look like? What are your predictions? What are we going to be talking about next year conference when it comes to back mortgages? And we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I mean, we started in 2018, so we are very close to the finish line when it comes to commercial mortgage-backed securities, and we have decided to concentrate on that area particularly. And for the dream will be that by last year we'll have multiple commercial mortgage-backed securities on blockchain already up and running. And we have all of these structures already went through the regulation, which was the biggest hurdle. It took a long time to get it done. We finally got it done. We have a platform that's fully compliant with all of the regulation, and that banks actually are looking into to mirror, right? Because what we have done at VPN is, my background is partially commercial real estate and quantitative risk analysis. So I have made it similar to how it looks in their side, even though we're still using blockchain. So if we want any technology to advance, we have to make it useful. The reason Steve Jobs was able to get the computer out of the computer room was because he made it easy for everybody to use it without having to understand it. And that's, I believe, our main challenge. That's the job that all of us have in this family. We got to make it such a way that people don't have to learn and understand the back end of the technology to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think that this year, for both of us, right, sort of pioneering with mortgage. I think that we'll sort of fast forward a year from now. And I think this will probably be one of the hottest sort of sectors, crypto, because it's really combining two really important. The ability for you to hold your Bitcoin, as well as diversifying with real estate, which I think for people here that have made wealth through Bitcoin, it's really, really important to think about production with real estate. For the first time, I think with our products, we're really in a way of what a world could look like by changing how you underwrite consumer, how you underwrite their assets, what they're able to do with products, really sort of combining what is a very tangible asset like a home with the ability to combine something which is more really, really verifiable that symbolizes wealth. Bitcoin, combining both of those asset classes, there's no shortage of possibilities. Thinking about that for other credit products, that we're able to combine this, now really sort of have this responsibility. We're the first set of companies that is really creating sort of alternative models of credit, expanding credit to the whole community, sort of crypto community. So I think that this is really starting to, but I think it's really the future of how do we think about really tangible people that have wealth that are choosing to invest with crypto. Really think about this in the next 5, 7, 20 years, where it's a fundamentally different world, and we're really at the early stage of this.
We're going to jump right there. We'll let this guy wrap up. Go ahead.
No, I think we'll talk about how Bitcoin's everybody and everybody wants to know. So I think that's what we're very excited with this product. I think it's interesting. A couple of years from now, I imagine this is very widespread. The thing that who you trust your Bitcoin with and who you bring to it, that collateral package is extremely important. So going hard about yourself, your Bitcoin too, and how you think about managing that going forward. So, yeah, I think what do you expect from Ledin in the next couple of years is we're going to keep everything yes, using Bitcoin finance, many other asset classes in addition. So excited to work that journey.
Yeah, I think that's hopefully more widely accepted as forward, right? Credit card that pulled out ourselves to be sound each year. I don't want to get slow, but advocating for that.
Well, thank you all for joining this panel. Really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you, Howard.
All right, so I will summarize for you guys what we just heard. We had three different people, one from VPN Capital, one from Ledin, which is a crypto savings account that I actually like. So you guys should use it. You get really nice staking rates. And another from Hoseki. And it sounds like the first guy is working on, well, let's talk about Ledin. He's working on, you give him your Bitcoin. He underwrites and funds the mortgage themselves, but they do all the background. And that way, in some which way, shape, or form, you don't have to sell your Bitcoin and take the 29% capital gains tax that you have on selling it. The other guy was working on, it sounded like he's doing all the appraisal, the back end, everything that you'd want to do on the back end for the mortgages. And he would bring that through, and he's trying to work with the lenders so he can do that. And again, not sell the Bitcoin. So everything right now is about not selling the Bitcoin, so you don't have to realize the capital gains tax and going on. I didn't hear what the other guys were because I got here a little late, but pretty interesting. My only thought is I'm very curious if you give your Bitcoin to say a trust, which is then put into an escrow. I'm wondering if that gets around the capital gains tax because you're not selling it, you're not realizing profit. Or maybe if you sell it at a loss, I don't know. I'm sure there's a law against it. But giving it to a trust and escrow that is set up specifically for, you are not selling it, but it is there in this trust to be used for the mortgage information. I'm quite curious if that's going to be a way, just sort of like when you do a subject to loan, right? So let's see what this is. I'm gonna see if I can go talk to him, but hope you enjoyed, and I will live stream later when it comes to another panel that I think is just really informative. If I find out anything more, I'll come back. Bye.